Hi guys, this is Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge, and this is Bandit. And I don't know why, but sometimes when I sit here to make my videos, Bandit wants to come and sit on my lap and be part of the video too. Don't you, buddy? Yeah? Kiss. Thank you. As I wipe it off. He is a special little dog indeed. And I'm getting totally distracted. We should be talking about a knife right now, so let's talk about a knife. So I got to put you down, Bandit. Okay, give me 5. So what are we looking at today? We've got a fixed blade. Oh, Bandit's crawling up my belly wanting to get up here. We've got a fixed blade today. This is the Forager by Real Steel. You can get it a couple of different ways. I chose to get the orange G10 handles with the black wash blade. This is, a very good survival style knife in this size. Of course, you might want a larger survival knife, but there's going to be times where you're going to want a knife that's about this size. And for a survival knife, this thing has got everything that you need or that you're looking for. Actually, I shouldn't say it that way because you're an individual and what you're looking for might be different than what I'm looking for. So I shouldn't say it that way. This is a very good survival style knife. It has everything that I'm looking for in a survival knife, and you might like it that way as well. You've got a leather sheath, which I like, and I like this style of sheath where the weight of the knife is well below where the belt is, and so your leg is here holding it out, and you've got a snap instead of a Velcro or hook and loop. You've got well done leather here, and you've got protection up here for the handle as well, and you undo the snap and you can take the knife out and use it immediately. You've got a great tip here in case you need to puncture something. You've got a strong thick blade. You've got generous handle scales that are comfortable in hand. They're well rounded for extended long-term use. A little bit of jimping on the thumb here to give you just that extra good grippiness. And before I get totally into the entire description, why don't I just get into the desktop mode and we're going to show you the rest of this knife. So stick around for the full review of the Real Steel Forager coming at you right now. When I saw this knife at Real Steel, I just knew I had to get it. And once I got it in my hands, I'm very, very much glad that I did. So take a look at this knife. You've got a classic shape here. A little bit of a curve to the back here. A nice well-rounded end on the handle. A negative belly here. Nice choil here for your index finger. Good protection for your hand. If it comes to an abrupt stop, that you're not going to come up over the edge there. Really good plunge here. Nice sharpener's tool, giving you a good safe zone there to sharpen up to without scratching up your plunge. It's a nice saber grind, almost high enough to be called a full flat grind. I know some guys that would call this a full flat grind. You've got a nice black stonewash here. Really sets off that edge. I did sharpen this because I've used it for a while. I used it so much that I needed to sharpen it, but it stayed sharp for plenty of time. The 14C28 end steel, the more I've used it, the more I love it. And although it's a Sandvik steel, it's not a Chinese steel, I have come to embrace it because of Chinese knife makers. There's several Chinese knife manufacturers that like to use 14C28N, and this steel has become my go-to steel. For somebody that is, for somebody that has a slightly restrictive budget, or maybe significantly restrictive budget, but does have a little bit of cash to get stuff, you might have to save up for a while. 14C28N is one of those sweet spot steels that you can find really good knives at a reasonable cost, and it's worth saving up for them. We've got a little bit of jimping just right here. Other than that, everything's rounded. You can see even in this video here, The spine of the blade is rounded. You can see here on the handle, nicely rounded everywhere. There's no sharp edges except for the sharp edges. And that's really, really good. And we've got a slightly thicker than normal handle right here. Very often you're looking at a 1/2 inch thick handle. This one's a little bit bigger than that. That helps fill the hand very well. My hands are large, bordering on extra large, and that's in North American sizes. That's between 10 and 11 in the European glove size numbers for men, and it just fits my hands so very, very well. And then you've got a slight drop point here. It's not a straight back blade, it's just a slight drop point, bit of a swedge, and then it's rounded again on the top there. And very strong tip. And almost all belly, a very short straight section down here. Very, very nice knife. You've got Real Steel's name on the side here. It's not too bold. I don't like it when the print of the branding is huge on a knife. And then 14C28N right there, and that's all that's written on there. You can take the handle scales off if you wanted to wash them. Let's say you've got used it for hunting or something, and you got gunk and things in behind the handle scales. Easy enough to take apart. It takes hex screws, a hex driver, easy to take apart. Easy to do good maintenance on this. And then you've got decent quality leather and a good thickness of leather right there. Rivets and snaps. Very well made. Just a very good chunk of leather. There is no drainage hole on this leather, which is one short sight, one little mistake that they made on this, but it's going to be easy enough for me to drill just a little bit of a hole down here and through there. And then that way, if I was wearing it or somebody who was using it was wearing it and rain water got in here, it will drain out the bottom. Even though it's stainless steel and you've got this nice acid black wash on it, you still want it to be draining away any water that's on there. 14C28N usually has a Rockwell hardness between 58 and 60, 59, all the way up to 62 they can get it. Some people get it even higher than that. I'm just going to say 60. That's a common Rockwell hardness for 14C28N. And, it's a good knife this way. Let's do all the dimensions for you. Cutting edge, 10 centimeters, 3.94 inches. So I'm calling it a 4-inch cutting edge. Blade length is 10.75 centimeters. That's 4.32 or 23 inches. So 4¼ inches, basically. The blade thickness is 4.4 millimeters. That's 0.173 inches. So that's a nice thick chunk of steel that we've got here. The blade depth this way from the spine to the cutting edge is 3.47 centimeters, 1.37 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind is 0.5 millimeter. That's 0.0195 inches. Perfect thickness behind the grind. The handle length is 11.84 centimeters, 4.66 inches. The handle thickness is 1.55 centimeters. That's 0.61 inches, so 0.6 of an inch thick. Very good. The handle depth, and the depth, the widest spot is right there, 3.25 centimeters, 1.28 inches. The grip area, so from between my index fingernail and my other index fingernail, 9.89 centimeters, 3.9 inches. So basically just under 4 inches right there. And I didn't put the imperial dimension on here. You'll have to read the screen. The total length of this knife is 22.86 centimeters. The weight of this knife, 196 grams, 6.9 ounces. And if you add in the sheath, it's 254 grams, 8.95 ounces. If you want to buy this knife from Real Steel directly, you're going to pay $100 US. Most places, though, will have it for about $80 that you can find it. I found a Canadian source for this at $102.25 Canadian. All right, so let's put this off to the side so we've got room here. This knife fits in the hand quite well for different grips. The reverse grip with the thumb over, not so much, because we've got quite a bit of a point right there. But if you bring the thumb in, then yes, you've got all this protection here so that if you did end up doing a stabbing motion and come to abrupt stop, it's fairly safe. But you know, that's for other motions. The reverse, which I tend to show because there are some guys that like doing this grip. There's actually some bushcrafting maneuvers where you tend to want to do a little bit of this. You just get a little better strength, or this grip even to do some cuts. You know, quite comfortable. Pinch grip works very well, and you can pinch grip all the way up, you know, to really high up on the blade. One of the benefits of having a deep blade is you've got a lot to work with to get a good grip there. Nice high blade here for doing slicing. You've got a nice enough belly here. You could use this knife for doing some skinning if you needed to. You know, if you're using it for hunting and trapping. It is more of a survival knife than a bushcrafter's or hunting knife, but it crosses over to those fairly well. One of the really big benefits that I found of this knife is the fact that it's just, you know, for me, it's the perfect weight. It's almost 7 ounces. It just feels very good in the hand. The balance point is, you know, right. I'm not getting it quite right, but there we go. Just on the last end, a bit of this choil right here. So it gives a good balance. Nothing, you know, silly going on, no strange grooves or anything. It doesn't need any of that. It just is a simple design that is clean and done very, very, very well. I just can't say enough good about this knife. It's a very good knife. For me, I think it's worth the $80 US that you're going to find this for, or just over $100 Canadian. I know that that is probably out of the budget of some guys. You know, be that as it may, I am running out of finding a lot of really low budget knives to review. If you've noticed, I've reviewed very little Ganzo lately. I've reviewed very little Sanran Mu lately because I've gone through almost all of their stuff. And there aren't that many other low-priced knife brands out there that have a quality that's good enough for me to review. So if you come across good quality knives at a low price, let me know about them, will you? Please email me at canadiancuttingedge@gmail.com if that comes around. And these other brands that are a little bit more money but are very, very good quality and I think are reasonable for the price are companies like Real Steel. They've been around for a number of years. Check out their entire line if you'd like to. They have a store in the USA right now. So realsteelknivesusa.com. You can get your knives if you're in America directly. Canadians, you can get your knives from them as well. It's a good choice. I like their knives. The cons for this knife, I am at a loss to find any significant cons. They're just, this is very, very good for what it is. It would be good with a Kydex sheath, yes, but it's not bad at all with a leather sheath. So I can't say that's a con. It's just an option that some people prefer over other options. And here's how the knife looks on the hip. Pull that snap off and you're ready to go. Very good. Goes back in very easily. One way I like to carry knives like this often are I tuck it into the pocket like that. But same thing, snap comes off, knife comes out, and you're ready to go. Thank you to all my supporters. You guys are awesome. You're a supporter if you simply, like, share, comment, subscribe, any of those things. That's one way to support my channel, and I thank you very much for that. If you are a Patreon supporter and you help me out that way by making donations on Patreon, I very much appreciate that. Thank you all of you guys for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And remember to always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.